Sebastian had been searching for Sabrina for a month. When he started to think she might not be as bad as his investigation suggested, she showed up as the waitress in a room reserved especially for him. He had seriously underestimated her. "Director Ford. What's the matter?" the restaurant manager, trembling, asked Sebastian. "How long has she been here?" Sebastian asked coldly. A month," the manager stuttered. A month. That was exactly the time since she had escaped the Ford family. She hadn't been trying to escape, she wanted to raise her value. Damn. Sabrina looked at Sebastian with resentment, feeling wronged. How could the world be so small? "I don't understand what you're saying, let me go. If not, I'll call the police." She tried to free herself from Sebastian's grip but couldn't move. Sabrina was in so much pain that sweat started to form on her forehead. The manager scolded her in fright. "Lila Young, you've gone too far." Sebastian sneered. "Lila Young? You hid the fact that you were just released from prison by changing your name to Lila Young?" At that moment, the lobby supervisor, the same waitress who had asked Sabrina to take her place, rushed over but was too frightened to speak. Sabrina was in despair. She only had 2 days left to collect her paycheck for the month. However, everything fell apart again. "Why do you always refuse to leave me alone? Why?" Her eyes reddened with anger and frustration. She suddenly lifted her wrist and bit Sebastian's arm, making him release his grip due to the pain. Sabrina turned and ran away as quickly as she could. She couldn't fight anyone, so she ran. When Sebastian finally reacted, Sabrina had already run out of the restaurant and quickly boarded a bus. She got off after a few stops. As she walked, she suddenly started bawling uncontrollably. She had gone to prison in Celine's place for a month, a dead man had taken her most precious first time, and she had finally gotten out of prison only to find she could never see her mother again. Hasn't she been unlucky enough? What kind of demon was this man named Ford? Why was he so determined not to let her go? Why? Was it because she came out of prison with no one to rely on, so she looked like an easy target to be bullied? Sabrina bawled until her stomach was upset. In the end, she squatted by the roadside and vomited continuously. However, all she vomited was green acidic liquid because she had not eaten. A passing woman patted her on the back and said, "Girl, are you experiencing early pregnancy symptoms?" Early pregnancy? Sabrina shuddered. She had been feeling nauseous recently, but it never crossed her mind that she could be pregnant. After the woman's comment, she suddenly remembered that it had been more than a month since that night. She rushed to the hospital in a panic, holding only a few $10 bills, not enough for any test. The doctor gave her a test strip for a urine test. 10 minutes later, the doctor confirmed, "You're pregnant." Sabrina staggered. "No, I can't be pregnant." The pregnancy could be aborted, the doctor said coldly before looking outside. Next, Sabrina walked out of the room, sat on a hospital bench, and felt helpless. "Don't cry. Don't cry, wipe your tears," a cute, babbling voice said. She looked up and saw a little girl in diapers standing in front of her. The little girl tried to wipe away Sabrina's tears with her chubby hands but failed. So, she patted Sabrina's legs to comfort her instead. Sabrina's heart melted instantly. "Please excuse me, my baby is an amiable and emotional child," said the young mother standing opposite Sabrina, smiling. "Your baby is very cute," Sabrina replied politely. She looked enviously at the mother and daughter as they walked away. She couldn't help but touch her lower abdomen. She already had no family. The baby in her belly was her only flesh and blood. A sense of joy and expectation of being a new mother overwhelmed her. However, how could she feed and support the baby? She couldn't even afford the abortion surgery. Early the next morning, with a glimpse of hope, Sabrina went to the prison and begged the guard, "Can I please see Aunt Grace?" When Sabrina was first imprisoned, Grace Summer had already been in prison for quite some years. Grace took care of Sabrina and saved her from a lot of trouble. Sabrina didn't know Grace's background, but she could tell Grace was wealthy. Every month, Grace received a lot of money from visitors. Grace even gave her a few $100s when Sabrina was released from prison. Grace Summer was released more than a month ago, the guard said as he calculated the time. "What?" Sabrina was surprised. "You must be Sabrina Scott, right?" the guard suddenly asked. Sabrina nodded. "That's me. Grace left a number for you when she was released. On that day, you got into a luxurious car as soon as you got out." I shouted for you to stop, but you didn't hear me. The guard handed Sabrina a slip of paper with a phone number written on it. Thank you. 2 hours later, in the VIP ward of the highest-end private hospital in South City, Sabrina met her cellmate, Grace Summer. Grace's eyes were slightly closed as she lay on the bed, looking sickly. However, her gray hair made her look graceful and elegant. Sabrina could tell she had been a beauty when she was young, but she didn't know why she had been imprisoned. "Aunt Grace?" Sabrina called gently. Grace gradually opened her eyes. When she saw Sabrina, she was so excited she started coughing, then calmed down and said, "Sabrina, I finally get to meet you. I asked that brat to bring you over, but he kept saying you went back to your hometown. You finally returned today. I'm glad you're back." "I came back from my hometown, Aunt Grace," Sabrina lied. She knew the brat Grace referred to was her son. Sabrina finally understood why she had been acquitted early. Grace's son had spent a lot of effort to get her out. It was already good that they were willing to get her out. How could they allow Grace to have such a poverty-stricken friend like her? The lie she told Grace about returning to her hometown wasn't too much. "I would never forget that I wouldn't have survived this long if it weren't for your care in prison, and I wouldn't be able to see my son again." Grace was so touched that she cried. Sabrina shook her head. "It's nothing, Aunt Grace. I wasn't expecting a reward when I took care of you." At that moment, she pondered how to ask the ailing Grace for a loan. Finally, she bit her lips as if making a decision and said, "Aunt Grace, I know I'm not supposed to tell you this now, but I really have no choice." What happened? "You're here by my side now. If you have any difficulties, you can tell me," Grace asked. "Aunt Grace, could you loan me some money?" Sabrina dropped her head very low. She dared not look at her. "How much do you want?" "I will give you." A gentle voice came from behind her. Sabrina quickly turned her head, shocked and unable to speak smoothly. "How could it be you?"